The Rollright Stones are a set of standing stones located on the border of Oxfordshire and Warwickshire in the United Kingdom. They date back over 5,000 years, with the earliest monument being constructed around 3,500 BC. There are three distinct sites at this complex. The first and biggest, the stone circle called the King's Men. Over the road in a field by himself stands the solitary King's Stone. And a little further down the track lie the conspiratorial whispering knights, huddled together. Legend has it that these are the petrified remains of a king whose army was marching across the Cotswolds. The army happened upon a local witch by the name of Mother Shipton. She challenged the king and said, "7 long strides thou shalt take," says she, "and if Long Compton thou canst see, King of England thou shalt be." The king's knights gathered in a circle to discuss this challenge and the wisdom in dealing with a witch. As they debated upon the best course of action, the king boldly took off by himself and took 7 steps forward towards the village of Longer Compton. As he took his 7th step, the witch made the ground to rise up, blocking the view between himself and the village. She turned to the king and cackled. "As Long Compton thou canst not see, King of England thou shalt not be. Rise up stick and stand still stone, for King of England thou shalt be none. Thou and thy men Horstone shall be, and I myself an elder tree." Thus the knights that stayed in circle and debated became the king's men, the stone circle we walk around today. In a field over the road stands the solitary stone on its own. This is the king who strode off to the village of Long Compton. Further away stands a group of stones called the Whispering Knights, the 3rd site in this complex. These are the knights who lagged behind and plotted against the king, and stood by themselves whispering their treachery, but they were all turned to stone by the witch's curse. It is said that the witch turned into an elder tree, still in the bushes to this day, and if you were to cut this tree down, the stones would spring back to life, the curse broken. Aside from the creation myth, there are other legends and folklore that surround the area. The stones of the King's Men's Circle are said to be uncountable, and trying to do so will always result in different numbers. Anyone who thrice counts the same number will have their heart's desire fulfilled. A local baker swore he could count them himself by placing a loaf on each of the stones. He then planned to count the exact number as he collected them. However, when he came to claim them, some of the loaves were missing, spirited away by the devil himself or by local fae folk. The king and the knights were strong in their faith, and on certain saints' days or holidays, they are said to come to life. If you are frequenting one of the local taverns on these nights, you may see strangers who seem out of place and time, but enjoying a solemn drink before disappearing into the night. On a more regular basis, the King's Stone in the field on its own can sometimes wake up around midnight. There he converses with passers-by, lamenting his fate and for that of his loyal men. Some local girls claim that if they ran around the stones naked at midnight on midsummer, they would see the man they were to marry. This is based upon beliefs from earlier, where you might be able to hear conversations of the living king and his men discussing amongst themselves, talking of ages past and in some cases things yet to be, for they were now beyond time. Misfortune was also said to follow those who would desecrate or break the stones. A local farmer tried to remove the largest stone to create a bridge over a stream. It took 24 horses to take the stone to where the bridge would be made, and 2 men perished in the endeavour. When in place, the stone kept on flipping over, making the bridge unusable. Eventually, when the farmer decided to put the stone back, it took only a single horse to take it back up the hill. Curious people who chip bits off the stones to take home as souvenirs will soon find their carts, or maybe even cars now, inoperable. Today the stones stand accepting of anyone who comes to visit them. There are still several offerings in the trees and on the stones themselves from people who come to this place to reconnect with their history, or perhaps to gain an audience with the king and his men when they awaken once more.